what may look like smoke coming out. Oftentimes it's not really smoke, it's steam.
Okay.
But entrained in that steam is the carbon dioxide.
All right.
And so the capture part of it is using just basic chemical engineering technology to separate the CO2 from the steam. And then we start to compress it.
Okay.
So initially it's sitting at about, well, we'll just say atmospheric pressure. And we start to compress it, which heats it up.
Right.
And we have what's called interstage cooling. We compress it, cool it, compress it, cool it. And we're compressing it to where it's getting, maybe wanting to start to form a liquid.
Okay.
And what we'll do is we'll pull out most of the remaining water in it.
Okay.
We're going to get it down to where it's 500 parts per million water. Okay. And so that, and it becomes what's called a supercritical fluid. At about 1900 psi, 2000 psi, somewhere in that neighborhood. And so a supercritical fluid has some properties that behave as a liquid and some properties that behave more of a gas.
Okay.
For example, you can use supercritical CO2 in place of some of the dry cleaning chemicals that we use. You can use it to decaffeinate coffee. Now, why you want to remove caffeine from coffee? Look, I don't judge. I'm not here to judge.
Sure.
I know some people want decaffeinated coffee.
Right.
But at that point, it has a very low concentration of water in it and very high pressure. So we put it into a pipeline, and we'll transport it to someplace where we can, have a well.
Okay.
That's fairly deep. I mean, a mile and a half deep sometimes.
Okay.
And we'll push it down into a permanent storage region. That stratigraphy I was talking about, the stratigraphic layer.
Right.
And that is, so if you look at what's below us, you'll have the water table where our drinking water comes from.
Right.
And you'll have continuous layers and layers and layers. You'll have what's called a caprock.
Okay.
And and that caprock is an impermeable barrier. So it's pushed even below the caprock into a zone that will soak up the CO2 like a sponge.
Soak it up like a sponge. Okay, so help me here, because once again, I went to Lamar, but I didn't finish. So, when you so let's go back to this supercritical.
Mm-hmm.
You're saying that the supercritical, what was the term?
Supercritical fluid.
Fluid. Okay. So that has properties that act like a fluid and act like a gas.
Act like a liquid and a gas.
Liquid and a gas.
Okay. So I use the word fluid.
Okay.
It could be either a liquid or a gas.
Gotcha. Yep. Okay. Yeah. Well, that's way above my pay grade right there. But at the same time, okay. So if I'm understanding you correctly,
mm-hmm.
if we're out here and we're producing all of this CO2 and stuff, and it's coming up through steam, right? Or it's being emitted into the air through steam.
Yep.
And I'm probably going to use a bunch of words that probably don't line up with the way you communicate.
That's okay.
But so the steam goes off, and a CO2 capture system is going to capture that steam.
Yep.
So before it gets into the air,
correct,
it captures it. And then it's going to take that, and it's going to basically, from what I don't know much about the system you talked about, but I do know about distilling properties.
Mm-hmm.
And it kind of distills it down in a way.
Correct.
To make it more of a capturable product.
Yep.
So this is not like, like I say, I'm just trying to make sure I'm understanding and tracking what you're saying. So if you take that liquid, then that's going to go through a few kind of distilling processes. Mm-hmm. To get down to a certain parts per million.
Yep. So
now is that CO2 parts per million?
No, that'll be
water.
That'll be the water, a very small composition of water.
Okay.
And the majority of CO2.
Okay.
And we call that process absorption and stripping.
Okay.
So absorption is where a liquid takes in a gas.
Okay.
And the best way to think about it is a Coca-Cola or a carbonated beverage of some type.
Okay.
Right. So if you have a can of Coke and you pop that top,
yeah,
That's a CO2 that's coming out of the liquid and coming out. That's what gives it that effervescent, that which you want in a Coca-Cola, or you know,
bite.
that carbonation.
Yeah.
That bite. So.
Yeah.